What's that? That's live, right?
Yeah, live over to my YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Welcome once again to another truly cannot miss show with Sal Santori, and our special guest today is none other than the owner of the William Penn Restaurant, Mike, and we'll be visiting with Mike here today. But before I do, I want to let everyone know who our sponsors are for this week, and thank our sponsors and our newest members to our global greatest of all time family of viewers and listeners. So this week our show is sponsored by Shay's Vending Company. And remember, for service that pays, call Shay's. Call 717-272-1271 and let the great folks at Shay's know that you are supporting the destruction of not only Bill 756, Senate Bill 756, but you want some folks in there who support our veterans and families and first responders and all the businesses that support our folks in the first responder community, in our military, right along with our police force, firemen, EMTs, everyone. And we also have Hardee's of Myerstown, along with the Pharaohs Car Club of Lebanon. These guys are truly on pace and on fire to make 2025 one of the greatest years ever for our veterans and families. Pardon me. So we also want to welcome some new family members. In Raresburg, we have Tim Glenn, who is a United States Navy veteran and a strong community member and advocate. Thank you, Tim, for your service and all you do. In New York City, we have Kylie Smith. Kylie Smith comes from a great line of combat veterans spanning 4 generations. Incredible. Thank you, Kylie, for your support, and thank you and your family for all your service and sacrifices. So before we go any further, let me welcome Mike. Mike, we've been friends for about 10 years, I believe.
At least.
Yeah, great. Tell us about Willie Penn Restaurant.
It was started by my grandfather in 1928.
Okay.
Came from Greece and ended up in Lebanon, PA, and it's been in our family for 97 years this year.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah.
We really never had that conversation. Yeah. I was just always too busy eating hot dogs and loving it. Now, what else? It's famous here. Is famous, I believe, for the hot dogs. At least everybody I talked to
Correct.
says, great. What are some of the other dishes that you prepare, the other food that you make?
Well, hot dogs, mustard, onions, and the Greek chili sauce. I added cheese, sauerkraut you can get now. Also, we always had burgers. I added cheese, so you can get a cheeseburger, bacon cheeseburger. Not your typical toppings, the hot dog toppings, mustard, onions, Greek chili sauce. 2014, I added breakfast.
Okay.
So Tuesday through Saturday, 8 to 11. Pretty much a full breakfast menu.
I've had your breakfast. In fact, I come here just for the breakfast usually. It's great.
Thank you.
It's great. The eggs come out perfect. You say over easy or sunny side up. Perfect. The home fries are always good. Good, like they're really good on the grill.
Slice them, grill them.
Oh, they're great. So I'm sorry, your grandfather opened in 1928?
Yep. Then my father had it, and then I was given it. So,
okay.
3rd generation.
Okay. How long has it been like yours?
About 20 years ago. 21, 22 years.
Wow. So that's great. That's incredible. So you added the other things to like the basic, to the hot dogs and stuff like that, and brought burgers on. What kind of revenues was it generating, like prior to Skill Games, Pennsylvania Skill Games?
obviously, for 97 years, we did okay.
Right. And,
The skill games helped me out with being able to purchase benefits for myself.
Okay. So pretty much
It helps with paying a few bills and allow me to donate some back to charity, back to the community.
that's key. Let me back up just a little bit, Mike. You mentioned about being able to get benefits for yourself.
Correct.
So before that, as an owner operator, of course, there was, when we talk about benefits, what are we talking about?
Well, I lived in Northern Virginia for 34 years. I always had benefits down there through my jobs. Well, I left my job to come back up here where I retired, and benefits were expensive. And
we're talking
didn't
about
afford
health
it,
insurance.
couldn't afford it. So, yeah, health
Okay.
insurance. And went for quite a few years with no benefits, hoping nothing happens to
Right.
myself. So, wasn't sure about the skill games, but I added them, and since then I've been able to have benefits. So,
Now, you also mentioned about being able to give back to the community. Tell us a little bit about that. What does the skill games mean in terms of being able to give back that wasn't available or wasn't possible prior
correct.
to them coming?
I have a pool team, and then we go to different places, and we go to a lot of the Anvil, VFW, Anvil Legion. Where else? A few clubs like that, and they're able, because of those machines, to give to the veterans. I assume Union Hose up in Anvil has machines, and that's a fire department.
Right. They have a lot of equipment that
Plus,
needs to be paid for.
what Shays are able to give, donate a lot of money back to the community, help people. I try to make a Thanksgiving dinner and Christmas dinner for some customers, people who they don't have any place to go. So
Now,
that allows me to do that.
if we let's take a look at the proposed bill 756, which has been authored by Senator Gebhardt, who has earned himself the name Casino Chris because of this whole fiasco. His claim is that this will help. This will help small businesses. Okay. Now, how he proposes to help small businesses is by taxing the skill games 35 to 40%, which is the highest that's ever been even suggested, for God's sake. Now, if I say to you, Mike, I need you to give me 35% or 40%, or I'm even going to be kind, I'm your Dutch uncle. I say, how about we make it 34%, right? And I say, I need you to give me 34% of your weekly skill game revenue. Now, this would help you to do what?
Absolutely nothing.
Right. Now, to take it, that's the obvious. I mean, for real, Casino Chris, are you really thinking that your constituents are that stupid that they can't figure out? Take away 35%, leaves you 35% less able to do anything. How is that helping? How is that?
And that's off the gross. So if you're negative, you lost money this week. I lost money this week. It's off the gross of the money that was put in the machines.
So that's not even counting payout.
Correct.
Right.
That's how it was explained to me.
There is the rub. Okay. Wow. So theoretically, the payouts could be fine, yet when it comes to paying the tax, it's gonna wipe you out.
Correct.
It could very well wipe you out. Um, and when we were talking about, you mentioned about the fire company, the hose, then we're talking about like volunteer fire companies,
Yes.
things like that. I'm not real familiar with how their equipment, their trucks, their expenses are covered. Uh, but I do believe the skill games are a big part of that.
Sure.
Is that
Well, I mean, that would donate back to. You
right?
have the Rescue Social Club. I would assume
Goes
that
into the home.
goes back to the fire department.
Yeah. So we're not talking about these skill games are like, well, great. We just, whatever's in that box is ours.
Correct.
Right.
And
Right.
I work a lot of hours with very little help. And, it's nice to have a little bit extra.
Well, I'll tell you what, as long as I've known you, you have been the only guy behind the counter and in the kitchen,
Yes.
and I mean, that really speaks to not only your work ethic and your character and the fact that you care about what you're doing, but it also kind of gives the hint that, hey, if things were financially a lot better, there might be someone on the payroll.
Correct.
So by taking away the skill games, that probably decreases that likelihood, I'm thinking.
Correct. COVID hurt.
Yeah.
That hurt, and climbing out of a hole, sort of. Now,
Big time, yeah. Well, the fact would be that a lot of restaurants did not survive.
Correct. And even now, I'm sure a lot of these places, the clubs and some bars and restaurants, if they wouldn't have them, the skill machines, it'd be tough
They'd
for
be
them
closed.
to stay open.
Well, and that's kind of like one of the fallouts.
Or have a staff to stay open.
Right. I'll be right with you. I've got 5 other people I got to help. Right. By that time, it's like, you know what? I'm out of here.
Correct.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. Now, with the skill games, there's been talk about a lot of places. Should this happen to go through, which, I don't. Well, I really don't understand how it can possibly go through. If anyone really understands it, because it makes no sense. It makes no sense. It's like somebody coming in and sticking you up for 35% and say, "I helped you out today." Same principle. But there's talk of if this were to go through, a lot of places closing their doors because this has become a very strong supporting part of the revenues.
for small businesses, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, the last show I challenged them to, give us some, if you want to tax the skill games by 35%, what would be their plan to replace that? If you want to tax and you want control and you want regulation, okay, great. Go ahead. But what are you going to give us to replace that lost revenue?
Nothing.
Right. And I so far haven't been able to get even an answer to the phones over there at Casino Chris's office, which, by the way, folks, if you're watching, you see at the bottom, going across the ticker tape is the phone number to call and reach out and let them know that you as a constituent do not approve of this action. I don't think any of us even had any input requested before it was drafted. Nobody said, hey, should we put this to a referendum? No, it was just bought and paid for. Yeah. And there's Casino Chris on his way out to Vegas saying, see ya. Wow. So anyway, folks, what we have is a very serious situation where, Senator Gebhardt back in November was really giving me all the impressions that he was definitely pro-veteran, supported veterans. Was on several stages with me at Veterans Day events, things along that line, and really, was all out for it.
way it sounds, it's photo ops.
Right, right. Yeah. So we bring that fast forward, and all of a sudden we have the complete opposite. You know, so there again.
Are you surprised?
Well, and Paul, you know, what Joe Biden taught me not to be surprised by anything. I was appalled that he was actually really there. Like, seriously, Biden? Are you kidding me? And then the fact that we as a country allowed ourselves to be that downgraded. I just really can't believe I signed the contract and defended against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. And then here this guy comes that can't even, and he just destroys our country from the inside. You know, so, you know, that aside, when we look at what Casino Chris is doing, you know, there's no rhyme or reason that would make sense other than, guess what? Somebody's paying you and paying you well. You know, that when you want to know the answer to anything, follow the money. So, you know, Chris, I hope they're giving you plenty of money, because your days in politics are done. I don't see anybody ever considering voting for you again. You know, and that's sad. You could have had a hell of a career, you know, if your heart was right, but obviously it's not. So, you know, there's nothing we can do there but move on and make sure that this Bill 756 gets defeated, and all the destruction that comes with it needs to be defeated as well. We're not going to have that. So for all the folks like Mike and our other small business owners, our clubs, our veterans clubs, our social clubs for firefighters and EMTs, Fraternal Order of Police, you know, this is all part of the big family here. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And as always, please find someone to help. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Sal.
You betcha. You bet. And don't forget to stop in and visit Mike at